Everybody, I just want to say a few words, if that's okay. It's such an honor to be here on this beautiful evening for such a wonderful occasion. I had a chance to meet a lot of you last night and today, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steven Peterson, and I'm Mike's best friend in the entire world. To give you a bit of history, Mike and I have really been best friends since we were in diapers. We grew up together in Connecticut. We were in the same Eagle Scout troop. Both our families are Italian, and we went to the same church. And we even went to college together, moving to DC after school and dedicating ourselves to a lifetime career in the nonprofit world. I can confidently say that besides his loving parents, Donna and Lou, and his brother Dan, I know Mike better than anyone else in his life. We share a love for discussing obscure historical events, self-publishing books about the Boy Scouts, and normal hobbies like selling piles of leaves on eBay. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure to get to know this amazing man, I can tell you that from the day he was born, Mike has been one of the most thoughtful, self-motivated, creative, and loyal friends anyone could ask for. But if you know Mike, you also know he doesn't like to take big risks. He makes good decisions, and he doesn't get himself into trouble. Up until about 6 years ago. One day, Mike and I were out in the park, casually painting a portrait of James Franco, as we tended to do back in those days. And I could tell by a slight waver in his brushstrokes that he was pretty distracted. I said, "Mike, buddy, what's on your mind?" He turned to me and he shook his head and he said, "Steven, I'm in big trouble." I said, "Hey, I'm your best friend. Whatever you did, you can tell me." He says, "Well, this girl came into our One Campaign office for an interview, and I don't know what came over me, but I think I'm in love." "Steven, you should have seen her smile." I said, "Hey, Mike, people get fired all the time. You just keep your head up. We're gonna find you another job, and maybe you keep that story between you and me, because it's a little creepy." He said, "I didn't get fired. Her name's Maddie, and we have so much in common. I had her send in some extra writing samples. I even called around to some of her references to find out more about her." I said, "Michael, we are in public. Keep your voice down. You're freaking people out." He said, "Steven, I'm being serious. I think I'm going to ask her on a date. She's so smart and funny, and she even wants to dedicate herself to working in a nonprofit like us. She graduated from Penn," and I said, "Mike, I'm going to stop you right there. I've met a few Penn girls in my day, and this one's no different. You give that girl 30 seconds in a nonprofit job, and she's going to be buying GMAT books faster than you can say on-campus recruit, okay? And if you're not careful, she'll have you applying to some fancy Ivy League business school and make you think you should be working at JP Morgan or Amazon or Bain, God forbid. We're humanitarians. I don't like this girl. I don't trust her. I'm not about to stand by and let her bring you down." But a few weeks later, he says, "I want you to come out for drinks and meet Maddie. We've been seeing each other a lot, and I promise you'll love her once you meet her." And I'm just going to say it right off the bat. I've seen less red flags on a golf course. Maddie and I started talking, and all I said was, "Hey, Maddie, what's up?" She says, "Oh my God, it was my first day at work, and I didn't know what to wear. I'm doing this thing where I'm trying to dress more androgynously, so I get to work, and I give this project, I'm supposed to lead like right away. A lot of people think I'm a Gryffindor because I like lead projects, but actually Hufflepuffs are very diplomatic. But I also had Potter class like literally right after work, but I want to get my steps. But I don't know my way around the city yet. But then Willie and I got lost." Willie's my car. "Can you spell?" "I can't spell." And then Mike had texted me this thing, and I'm dying laughing, but I get here, and I've literally had one glass of wine. I'm literally drunk. Maddie's drunk. "Do you want this olive?" Maddie's had two, and Maddie only eats food in even numbers. I've got clay all over my hair, but I went to Park School where they teach us to think, and my mom was helping me pick out curtains for my apartment. I really like blue. "Do you like blue?" But Maddie took this class called Animal Behavior, where they study the behavior of animals. I said, Maddie, can you excuse me for a second? Mike, I need to talk to you. I have just gone from iffy about this girl to deeply, deeply concerned. He said, Steven, you just don't understand her yet. She's special. I said, you're damn right she's special. She's been over on the dance floor clapping off beat for 45 minutes. She's been referring to herself in the third person since her second glass of wine. He said she's quirky, like she's got this thing with inanimate objects where she thinks they have feelings, and this raggedy blanket she's been sleeping with for 27 years. I said, Mike, that sounds adorable. But if this girl comes within 100 feet of you again, I'm calling the cops. He said, Steven, you just have to get to know her. I met her family the other day, and they're so amazing. Her parents are so nice, and her sister's this awesome fashion influencer. And I mean, Steven, look at this picture of her brother. I said, Mike, I don't care how handsome her brother is. That's no reason to date someone. He said, well, I've never been with someone. He said, well, I've never been with someone like this. She went to this cool progressive high school, and she's Jewish, and I said, hold the phone. You never mentioned that this girl was Jewish. I said, Michael, I don't know how to tell you this, but they don't have Christmas trees on Christmas. He said, well, yeah, they don't celebrate Christmas. And I said, exactly. It's not much of a celebration without the tree. He says, we'll get over it, because she's coming to my house for Christmas, and I'll go to her house for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I said, first of all, Mike, you're speaking in tongues now, and I can't understand a damn word you're saying. And second, I've been coming to your house for Christmas for 25 years, and your family hosts the most beautiful dinner and cooks the most unbelievable food. And I just don't see why we should all have to start wearing tiny hats and eat kosher ham just because you think you're in love. He says, Steven, you can't make a ham kosher. And I said, if this girl's not going to meet us halfway, then I don't know what to tell you. But this relationship just goes on, and before I know it, Mike leaves me in D.C. to go to Cornell Business School, shocker. But Maddie moves to New York, then he's in Seattle working at Amazon, surprise, surprise. Well, she's back at Penn for business school. Who saw that coming? And they start visiting each other back and forth for years, and I sit Mike down and I said, buddy, this is enough. You gotta move on. And he says, Steven, you have no idea how impressive she is. I just got back from Wharton, and she is top 5% in her class. With no background in finance or ever having a business-related job. He says 5% at Wharton, Steven. You understand what that means, right? I said, now you're speaking my language. That's 4% of a whole class you could be dating over this girl. He says, I'm gonna be real with you. I love Maddie more than I've ever thought I could love someone. She's the one, and you're just gonna have to get used to it. I said, okay. But I know, Mike. And it was obvious to me that behind those words was a very serious cry for help. What he really meant was, I need to get rid of this girl now, and I just don't have the heart to tell her. So I came up with a solution. I said, look, Wharton's an impressive place. Realistically, she's surrounded by dozens of very good-looking, extremely eligible bachelors, essentially all the time. They're partying together, they're studying together, they're in class together, and you're all the way across the country. Why don't you just not visit her for a month or 3 and let one of them swoop in? Boom. Their problem, not ours. And when I say that, Mike gets this wide-eyed look, this really intense stare off into the distance that some people might mistake for fear. But I know Mike, and I could tell that I was getting through to him. So he calls me back the next day. He says, Steven, I found a ring. I'm flying to Philly, and I'm locking this down ASAP. I said, Michael, you are not listening to a damn word I'm saying. But this is my Mike we're talking about. It's my best friend. So try to be supportive. I say, look, if you have to marry her, fine. But we're going to do this on our terms. We're going to have a casual Italian wedding, back home, 30, maybe 35 people. He says, well, I think we're actually going to have a big black tie wedding in Baltimore. Sorry, guarded black tie, which I have no idea what that means. I've been growing organic basil in my tuxedo for the last month out of confusion. But I say, black tie in Baltimore? You can put truffles on a hamburger, but that don't make it a filet, baby. I mean, don't you think that you deserve to get married somewhere classy? He says, just wait and see. They live on the most beautiful farm. I said, a farm? Jewish people don't live on farms. I told Mike, this whole thing's starting to sound like a horror movie, and I'm not going anywhere near that place. So fast forward to earlier this week, I'm flying a tuxedo to Baltimore, of all places, with the damn tuxedo in my bag. I get here, and Mike forces me to meet all of Maddie's friends and all of her family, but I'm staying on my toes, you know. I let my guard down around these people. And we come by the Max house, and Mike nudges me. He says, you see the tents and everything? It's pretty nice. I said, see them. I can smell the manure from the pantry. I mean, it's not too late to go back to Connecticut. There's trains running back and forth all weekend. But Mike finally introduces me to Maddie's mom, Mrs. Max. She's got this huge smile on her face, and she gives me the warmest hug I probably ever gotten. She says, Stephen, Maddie's told us so much about you. And I can't tell you how happy it makes us to welcome you to our home. I know you mean so much to Mike, and I want you to know that we're family now, too. I said, lady, you don't know me. I asked Mike, what's the deal with Mrs. Max? She's freaking me out. Why is she being so nice? Maddie says, what about Maddie's sister, Sophie? She's super cool. Have you met her? I said, met her. I stood next to her for 2 seconds. I got 20,000 followers on Instagram. I'm trying to keep a low profile here. You think I want people to know that I'm in Baltimore? He says, okay, just go introduce yourself to Larry or something. Ask him about cars. He'll like that. So I say, hi, Mr. Max. Would love to see your cars and whatever. He says, well, I actually just got this cool vintage Buick if you want to go for a spin around the block. I said, Mike, if I'm not back in 15 minutes, you send a search party. But next thing I know, Mr. Max and I are 3 hours away, middle of Pennsylvania. The car's broken down on the side of the road. We're eating a pulled pork sandwich. It's true. He says, they only made 200 of these cars in the world. Break down sometimes, it's just part of the process. I said, sir, I don't care if they made one of these things. I have stuff to do, okay? I was just trying to be polite. So finally we get back to Baltimore, and I've just about had it at this point. I'm ready to call the whole thing off. So I say to Mike, let me meet Maddie's brother, Harrison. If everybody says this guy is so incredible, let's see what he has to say about the whole thing. And after 6 very long, extremely stressful years of dealing with Maddie, after speaking with Harrison this morning, I think I may have actually had a change of heart. I said to him, let's get real here. Mike is amazing. You and I both know that. But Maddie, I mean, a smart guy like you must see that this really isn't adding up. And you know what Harrison said to me? He looked me in the eye with that mesmerizing gaze of his. And he said, Maddie Max is without a doubt in my mind, my favorite person in this entire world. Maddie and I are only 16 months apart. We shared a bathroom until we were teenagers. We brushed our teeth together every night and every morning. We went to high school together. We went to college together. And throughout every day, there has never been a single moment in my life when she has not been there to guide me, to listen to me, or just to make me laugh. Maddie is the sweetest, most intelligent, most special person that I know. And every quirky, wonderfully strange, ridiculously weird part of her, that's just what makes her the Maddie I love. But if there's anyone in this life who understands and appreciates that more than I do, it's Michael Fazzino. Anyone who knows him can see that he has loved her fully and completely for exactly who she is since the day he met her. And just as Maddie has made me a better person just by being her brother, Mike knows that he will become a better man every day he gets to spend with her. And likewise, I have never seen Maddie smile or blossom more than she has in the past 6 years. His love for her is just proof that he is just as wonderful and special as she is. I never had a brother, but I would not only be honored to see them get married tonight, but thrilled to call Mike my brother. And when you hear something like that from a guy like Harrison, you just gotta start seeing things a little differently. So Maddie, I'll finally admit, just walking over here, you're pretty great. If Harrison's willing to give his blessing, then I'll give mine too. You may have my mic. I love you both, and I wish you a lifetime of happiness, health, and adventure, starting with many drinks and a very wild night on the dance floor. Congratulations, and cheers, everyone. Now my best friend, Nick Mazzini.